now, like, we've learned that we have to think completely different. It's like, what our consumer needs and what they're asking for, that we can connect even further with them and provide them what they actually need.
It doesn't matter. You can use the most amazing technology or generate the most amazing complex report of data, but if you don't connect with the people and create that relationship with your brand, what's the use of it?
Almost like marketers become artists, right? Mixing, the data, the consumer, but also the understanding of what's going on out there and being agile about it, right? Because the situation moves every day, every week, and being able to, speak the language that the consumer is speaking is so important.
Whatever you do, whatever tool, whatever influencer you use, or whatever technology you use, make sure that you get to the customer with empathy to what they are living today.
You're creating, a meaningful message and creating experience to support the community. Hi everyone, I'm Maira Genovese, founder and president at MG Empower, global influencer market agency. And this is our Influencer Marketing Uncover podcast. Today, I'm here with a very special co-host, Bruno Genovese. He's the general manager of MG Empower. And together, we are very, very excited and happy to be joined by Andreia Morelli, Vice President of Chart Products and Marketing at American Express, Mexico. Funny story, we worked with Andreia, I think 20 years ago, oh my God, believe it or not, at American Express in Brazil. So it's so very much looking forward to have her with us today. So Andreia has an incredible 20 years of international business experience across the financial service, working with American Express across Brazil, the US, Canada, and she's currently in Mexico. Andreia has led the marketing strategy, new product development, and customer retention products by truly understanding the power of consumer data and leading the charge in the creation of exciting experience for American Express consumers. Ultimately, Andreia is positioning American Express as the leader in the industry, as one of the beloved and aspirational brands among consumers. Bruno, thank you so much for being here with me today. How are you?
Thank you, Maira. And hello, Andreia. I'm doing really well. Pleasure to be here. Cannot believe it's been 20 years that we first worked together, Maira and I and you back in São Paulo at American Express. So great to see you. I remember, when I started American Express, I looked up to you as, one of the senior at the team, and you're always doing amazing things. And, so great to see your journey and how you progress at American Express in different countries. So yeah, big pleasure to welcome you in this podcast. And to kick us off, first of all, how are you? And then tell us a bit about you for the audience.
Yeah, so thank you so much for inviting me. It's so good to see your beautiful faces looking as young as 20 years ago. We were a fun bunch, weren't we? Yes. Creative, good so young, and doing well. I've been, as you mentioned, quite a long time in Amex, and I've been quite around. I'm very in love with our brand, and I think that is what kept me here for such a long time. And just being able to experience different cultures, how different consumers see our brand, and their behaviors can be quite different from country to country. So more than that, it was a life experience that I enjoy very much. Now in Mexico for 3 years. It's one of our biggest markets in international. So to me, it has been quite an adventure. I have 2 little girls who are also learning Spanish. So now, it's been quite interesting to go between the Portuguese and the Spanish and English. And you will be amazed by the culinary here. It's incredible. It goes beyond tacos. So hope you guys can visit us sometime soon.
Amazing that, yes, like it's crazy to think like 20 years ago, and it's so good to see you. And just echoing here what Bruno said, so good to see your journey and to think that you have been at Amex for like over 20 years and seeing everything you have achieved within the company. And more than that, your passion is just so inspiring. So thank you so much for being here. And it's so good to, to look at the past and thinking that, oh my God, 20 years ago, we were all starting our careers and now we're in different, different countries doing different things. But all very, with we managed to also succeed, and so great to have you here. And then it's good for us when we do podcasts to do with people that we've known for so long. So I love to share with the audience here like successful stories like yours. So thank you so much, and looking forward for us to kick off this conversation. So there, you mentioned about like the passion, right? Which really, catch my ears when you said, oh, I've been here for 20 years and the passion is what kept me here. So American Express, because I've worked there, and I remember like that the whole team at Amex, and we were so passionate about the blue box, right? So the blue box and what American Express stands, excellence on service, and how careful and well thought we were when creating marketing strategy and marketing experience to engage with consumers, and how we always put consumers at forefront of the business, and creating that brand that is so still today after so many years of existence. So when you say American Express, people, you can feel the passion, the emotion linked with the brand. So tell us a little bit about how, from your perspective of being in the business for so many years, how American Express as a financial brand has kept that passion and has kept the consumers to really kind of having that passion for the brand and engage with the brand. So especially the transition of looking at how we used to do marketing 20 years ago for now the digital era. So how do you kept a brand so consistently being beloved by consumers?
I think if you guys come back to Amex, you feel the same feeling all over again. It's impressive now that you're talking about it, how it still feels the same. There are a few things I can think of. One has to do about setting trends and adapting to the historical moment in which we live. Amex was founded more than 170 years ago, and we have always been at the service of our current members. So you can only imagine our business, as you mentioned, has transformed from a freight forwarding from the Wild Wild West in the United States to travel, to cards, and now digital services. But if there is one thing that has been constant, I would say, is that commitment to the long-term customer relationship, and I guess that's where my next point goes towards. Knowing your audience and being where they are with relevant, clear messages is really important. It sounds so simple, but it's challenging to do it and get their attention in a world where there are millions of messages that you could pay attention to. So I would say, in summary, the focus is the service, a long-term relationship based on trust. When we say don't live life without it, it's because we know that the experience behind shows that we are there, that the global, that continuous support that they have at American Express is verified every day. So credibility that we have built for all these years is what I think allows this brand to have the confidence, the word of mouth, the space for people to decide and give us a moment to listen to what we have to say. So personal relationships and service, being at the service of our customers, I would say, is what remains true inside American Express and outside.
It's amazing. And then I can feel that like through, social platforms and through, communication that I've seen from American Express. And then I love the point that you mentioned about credibility, right? Is a brand that has such a credibility within their consumers. And then is a brand that is very, is a brand that, who doesn't have the cards, wish is like on a dream list one day to have an American Express card, right? So it's still that, that a willing and wishing of having an American Express for those who doesn't have is still there, because people can see, the way American Express really care for consumers and the way you guys communicate. Like how now, like looking into how you are typing into those messaging, because you mentioned that nowadays there is so like we are surrounded, right? Especially when you talk about social channels, we have so many channels that we can read message, like we're talking about LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and also blogs and websites. We are surrounded more than ever before with messaging coming from different platforms, but also different industry, different people. So how American Express is typing into the digital landscape to communicate that message that you just mentioned. So how was that transition, especially you, right? So you've been there for so long, you have been through that transition of communicating with consumers. How was that, and how are you guys typing to this digital landscape?
I think that the answer to that has to do with the power of the consumer data, right? And how you can transform that into what your customers are really looking for. In Amex, as you can remember, we have a very unique, it's more than a business model, but it's what we call a closed loop, right? And this refers to the fact that we can have visibility of the entire card member purchasing process. So think about it, not only consumers are our card members, but also the merchants and the big companies are our clients too. So in other words, we can fully understand the payment chain, their behavior, and design something that is very, very assertive in terms of benefits, experiences, offers that make the more sense for our audience. We work entirely based on data. As you mentioned, the way we manage data also changed. I don't know if you remember back in the days where we have to go into the system, the black screen.
Yeah, what was the name of the system before?
CMS or something, remember?
CMS.
That's the automators. Remember the automators who used to scrape data from the black screen?
Right. And we had to do everything so manual. Now it's all AI and I mean, I think we were set up for success because we know like the bones of everything. But think about in this pandemic, right? The data has been king. All of a sudden we had to catch up on consumers stocking toilet papers, and then they moving to dining at home. And in Mexico, for example, we particularly identified that much before the industry, the so-called vaccination travel. So because of the proximity of the US, our card members started to travel to get vaccinated back in January. We still didn't have enough vaccines here. So they were traveling to get vaccinated. We caught up on that. And remember, we also have travel services. So we were able to catch that way in advance and design benefits. For example, I'll give you 2 for 1 on your tickets to the US, to our most premium products. And by that, we won the customer share of wallet, and we surpassed actually our US booking sales on levels way beyond our pre-pandemic. So I think that the data, understanding and connecting that with the behavior of the customer is key. And we use that every day in every interaction with our brand. And we try to design products, benefits, communications based on what we can catch, combining our closed loop information, but also the channels that we have now available. They're so digital. in mind, right?
I can definitely relate to that, Andrea. And I remember back in the day, this focus on the customer, but also using, data as much as possible to personalize the offers and the communications. Back in the day, it was all about direct mail, lots of campaigns that we put in the envelope and post it. Now we have lots more channels, but I've worked for all the big banks and financial brands after I left Amex, but I've never seen, in terms of the culture and the focus on the client, I've never seen anything like it. So yeah, definitely learned a lot from Amex. And now and again, Maira and I talk as well. Oh, remember the way we did at Amex? It's still a benchmark for us on a number of things, even today in the agency. But what I wanted to ask you, not just the focus on the client, but also I think the sense of innovation, right? Because Amex is always, trying something a bit different, something a bit unique, and as you say, something modern, right, related to the times we're living in. And something that caught my eye that I'd love to hear more about from you is the Coordenadas Platinum, which I thought was an incredible campaign, in partnership with the Mexican government on tourism. So bring us to life to the audience. What was that about?
Yes. Oh, I love this project too. It is true. There we have some passion areas, right? We thought during the pandemic, it was important for us to connect our customers in that way with their passion points. And travel, for example, we have more than 100 years, I think, designing trips for our customers. So as you can imagine, we really know the industry with a very global perspective. But at that moment, it was important for Mexico. No, all the countries were closed, and it is important for us to really do that, use the data, but also listen to what our customers think it's essential, what worries them, what interests them. So that gives us really valuable information when we combine it all together. So we designed this campaign that you're mentioning that is called Coordinates. We were aware that during the pandemic, traveling must be done now under different circumstances, with more awareness, with more care, and each person feels different and they are ready in different timings to be able to reconnect with travel. So what I love about Coordinates is that it's all about the possibility of rediscovering Mexico through the 15 numbers of your card. It shuffles. So we kind of used, it was kind of like a gamification where you can interact. Your personalized card number shuffles to become a unique coordinate for you in Mexico. So you could discover or rediscover a place of the many paradises that I'm finding out here that the country has to offer. So each coordinate we chose with a lot of passion. These experiences were offered very selectively in collaboration with some travel experts. And you cannot believe the amount of paradises you can find in this country. And their food is so unique, their history, their landscapes, everything that could be emblematic about this place, we were celebrating it. So this also came together with some very interesting information we researched with our customers. We have a report that is called Global Travel Trends. And this year, what we found is that all around the world, 61% of the travelers plan to spend more than they would normally spend on a trip this year because they were unable to do so last year. And more than that, 69% were interested in visiting less known destinations. Privacy was very important lately. And the data I love the most, in particular in Mexico, is that 88% of Mexicans were interested in choosing a trip or an experience that supports their local community. And so with that, you would see the destinations that we had in Coordinates are very unique places, you know, from Hobosch to Bacalar to, you know, different haciendas. And it was really about supporting that. And also a new trend that we found was about philantourism. So, you know, just choosing a vacation destination that really needs the tourism activation, right? Reactivation. So, so with this project, we knew that we had to inspire the travel in Mexico to help reactivate the local economy, to bring some happiness to our current members, you know, connect to a place that they love. But also what I like about travel, it brings so many different things to it. I like particular to give a zoom in women's interest, in particular in Mexico, because diversity here has to do with the skin color and different things, but a lot with the role of gender. And the women theme here is more relevant than ever. And I found some interesting data. For example, 68% of Mexican women have been inspired during their travels to make a big change in their lives, so a career or a relationship. And 61% of them said that traveling with other women makes them feel empowered. So I think you would agree that there's no greater inspiration than data like this to be able to create from there. And that's what I love about working at American Express, is that we connect the data, the hard data that we have now, not so much our altimeters, not so manual anymore, but also asking our customers what is important, what do they love, how can we connect with them emotionally? And those serves more as inspiration that you would think to get creative around this.
Oh, that's amazing, right? That's marketing at its best, isn't it? Because you're talking about using the data in the first place, using, you know, the digital technology to spread the message. But in the end, you know, it's all about human emotion, making memories, you know, talking about topics that are closer to our consumers' hearts, and to top it off, to make an impact to the community, right? So how can it get any better than that? So amazing, amazing project. Well done.
Thank you. I hope you choose the destination soon.
Yes, yes.
And what I loved about this story, about this project, and then I love that you mentioned three words here that I made a note here. You mentioned about gamification, right? And gamification is a form of innovation, right? So, and to hear that American Express is typing into gamification is just like, you guys really went above and beyond on that, because this is really how you know how to innovate it when it comes to creating, you know, digital marketing strategy. And then another thing you mentioned is like sentiment analysis, right? So you're just like all the time listening to your, you know, to your consumers. And I love that you said card members. I completely forgot about this word. So yes, your card members, and then you're listening to them, right? So you're creating marketing strategy, you're creating products by co-creating with them, listening to what they're saying to you based on data. And I think that is the future, and not in the future, that's the present, right? So you have to listen to your consumers. You have to co-create a product. You have to co-create an experience based on their needs, not the other way around that we used to do in the past, where we would look into, okay, what as a brand do we need in order to get the conversion, in order to get the results? Now, like we've learned that you have to think completely different. It's like, what are our consumer needs and what they're asking for, that we can connect even further with them and provide them what they actually need. And then you mentioned about community, right? So nowadays is everything, it's about community. And you're totally right about the pandemic. We saw here at Imaging Power as well, when we work with, you know, we work with a diverse type of clients and brands and service. and the element of community. So how to support local communities, so how to support, you know, the community, or even like the community of your followers, let's say, right? Because we have your community of your area where you live, but you also have the community of the audience that follows you, right? At the end of the day, they are community too. So it's incredible to see that you guys went in that route as well, of like how we, as you know, as a beloved brand like American Express, how we support local community through the marketing activities that that we are creating through this project. So that for me, it's kind of comes to where you're saying like data and then innovation. So now that means that Amex is very into gamification, AR, VR, live streaming. So tell me more about that. So how American Express is typing into all this new technology, because like AR, VR and live streaming now is huge, right? So it's how a finance, you know, product like Amex, how you guys are typing into it.
I have so many examples, but I think we're always learning, right? I think that changes are, you know, when we used to do the direct mails that we have to proof point our prints, remember the color, if the color was right, the typos. Oh boy. I think, you know, it is important to adapt to these new trends if it fits the strategy, right? We marketers are lucky to have multiple channels to communicate, new technologies to play with, and how we can surprise customers by using them. But I think what is key is to not lose focus of the most important thing, which is people and their relationship with your brand. It doesn't matter, you can use the most amazing technology or generate the most amazing complex report of data, but if you don't connect with the people and create that relationship with your brand, I mean, what's the use of it, right? So I think that innovation brings that growth, you know, especially now. I think consumers' purchasing decisions are becoming every day more complex and more complex. You know, they switching, as I mentioned, from toilet papers to getting vaccinated in the US in like one day. It's important to adapt and adopt, but also how you in your role can collaborate to manage these changes, to set the trends, to surprise the customer positively. I think at the end of the day, that's what you want, to surprise positively that consumer. We're living something so strong socially, economically, historically, that now it's even more critical, even to think about talent. You know, it's something I also want to bring to the table more, in addition to the tools, but also a creative and analytical mind. A marketer now has to have those both sides working together, act with agility, focus on the customer and the data, have lots of collaboration to promote, you know, that satisfaction to your customer, more brand relevance, acquisition, retention. I think that the personalized marketing will continue to evolve, but to something friendlier. As we think about how we started, it's getting friendlier more now than ever because of big data, because of AI. And there's a very famous fusion of marketing and analysis and technology. So we need to think about also marketers as talents that can develop those three components, right? It goes beyond the creative, you know, it will require the talent, that knowledge, that leadership in those areas that more than ever are connected now. So I think in addition to the tools that we are seeing, how we can apply them, and I can give you some other examples of how we are applying them, I think we need to talk about never losing sight of what you're trying to do to connect with your consumer and your brand, and how we prepare talent in marketing to get there, right? So I think that that's what it's all about.
I like this approach, Andrea, and this almost like marketers become artists, right? Mixing, the data, the consumer, but also the understanding of what's going on out there and being agile about it, right? Because the situation moves every day, every week, and being able to, speak the language that the consumer is speaking is so important. And the tools are just enablers, right? They're just there to help facilitate. But it's up to the marketer to adjust and create the story and as you say, focus on the North Star, what you want to achieve, what's the main objective of the brand, and how do you engage the consumers at the end.
Yeah, I think I like to, I like to talk about empathy, right? In addition, and how we can use those tools to lead with empathy. It's, you can build a good credit card, you can go and think about, the benefits you want to put into it, what kind of fee you're gonna charge, what kind of loyalty program you're gonna add to that credit card. But it also goes beyond working with data and working with the technology. It is, I think that leading with empathy might be the big thing nowadays. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were all hit so hard. The complete shutdowns we've seen everywhere. People were sick, they were afraid, they were depressed, and I remember, how can I bring something that people can? How can I bring a smile to someone's face, right? Be in a position that I'm at, and we picked from another passion area of Amex that continues today. The dining scene is still something so relevant. And we brought our best chefs in Mexico at the home of our customers. So we were the first ones to do it. Imagine Enrique Olvera is a superstar, preparing you a box of ingredients and cooking live with you. From local producers. He chose the local producers. He put those stuff in a box, would deliver to you. But you cook live with him, but in a way that you can personally interact with him. Think about it. You couldn't even, sometimes you can't even do that in live. So it was quite unique. But the most important thing for me was that we received so many letters. I mean, you can imagine people. Can you imagine someone nowadays writing a letter?
Wow.
And from customers saying how grateful they were to have an experience like that at that time with their family, to reconnect, to project something positive. In addition to the restaurants, I mean, they were one of the most hit. And we were there to support how we could collaborate with them to bring innovation, to generate new and unique experience for their guests. I mean, it was something that really hit my heart because it was just so meaningful in a very emotional level at that moment. So I think that my key message would be, whatever you do, whatever tool, whatever influencer you use, or whatever technology you use, make sure that you get to the customer with empathy to what they are living today.
That's wow, Andrea. Wow,
that might be the title of the podcast. That's so good.
Let's change the title of the podcast, because that statement was beyond, and I got very emotional here. You saying, and then what I love, Andrea, what you just described it, is just like American Express putting a purpose behind what you're doing, right? Getting a really kind of a meaningful message. It's just showing that the brand is not just there to make you spend on your card, but we are here to support you when you cannot even spend. And what we as a brand can do for you that can bring you this smile back with a meaningful message, because this shows how the brand it has this such a strong purpose behind, right? You're not just there to get your card members, and retain them and engaging them with discounts for them to go out there and buy. You're creating, a meaningful message and creating experience to support the community and say, I know it's tough, but we are here and we're trying to create experience to put your smile back. And then you can do on the two sides of the coins, right? Because you can do with the merchants, which is the restaurants, but you can also do with the consumer. Wow, it's just like incredible.
I like how you
I
bring it to the human level as well.
Yeah.
You just need to keep it simple. If you understand a consumer, know what they're going through, and then you can lead with empathy to make a difference in their lives. That's it, right? Everything else are just tools and ways and means to an end. So I really like the way you put it in that, very human way.
Yeah, and the other day I was someone asked me what was my favorite sentence. That's so generic, right? And I think to me, and especially nowadays, and I think it makes sense for us as brands to think about this, is the Maya Angelou. People may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And so I keep thinking about these cart members. I mean, we got their loyalty forever, every time we rescue them from, when they travel and got caught up in the middle of the shutdowns of the pandemic, and we were able to bring them back home, or, this dining experience when someone was sick and they could, I mean, this is how you make them feel. And that is what catches their loyalty forever.
That's amazing. And you mentioned about, doesn't matter which influencer you use, or what tool you use. The most important thing is really to connect in a very transparent way with your consumer and bringing them something that is aligned with their need by listening to them. So talking about influencer. So I've been in this business for 5 years now, and then one of the reasons that I decided to go solo is just because I saw not just the opportunity, but I saw that the way we communicate was about to change, right? So of course, the traditional way of doing marketing, PR, advertising on magazines, and all the above the line, and even below the line is still email marketing, is very important too. But I could see that with the rise of social channels and the rise of influencers, that eventually any type of service or brand or product, they will have to type into the influencer marketing, because they will be the voice of your brand. So how do you see that transformation, right, of now having the opportunity to engage with the voices of influencers to promote your brand, or not just promote, or maybe just passing the message of the purpose of your brand through their voice to engage with their community? So how are you typing into it?
We are very careful in selecting influencers in Amex. Actually, I'm quite always interested in your content, Maira, because it's always the one that made me think. For starters, you have to have an American Express card. It's not like you're my influencer and you have to apply for the card. No, I'll give you the card. No, you have to have some sort of an experience with us to be able to talk, because we're not talking about a physical product here, right? We are talking about how a brand makes you feel, how we can back you up, how you can trust. Amex has never been about credit card. It has always been about service. So how do you translate that in that influencer world? Is so hard if you don't get to experience it personally. It has to be organic. It has to be natural. So I love the creativity and the fresh perspective that they can bring. Imagine a financial service. I mean, you would be surprised of the different things that they can find out or see the world through the product or the service that you're offering. So I think that the opportunity to work with people that have similar interest that with our cart members is something that is so unique that sometimes not even us marketers can get it right. So we carefully select the influence that we work with, because it's important that their profile is consistent with the image of our company. Reach is not as important as engagement and trust. I'm sure you're more articulated in that than myself. Our brand has very great engagement, and that generate an important number of UGC globally. If you review our hashtags, there are consistency in the experiences that people share: travels, dining, special moments with friends, shopping something that is really special for you, for your family. So what we want to project is that when our influencers or our card members thrive, we thrive as a brand. And I think that is how we've been using. It's less about the reach, more about that engagement generating new and creative perspectives of your product, and finding those little secrets that not even you as a marketer could think of. And just being respectful, not invasive. I think it's something that we also listen to. If they invite us to the conversation, we'll be there. But it's something that we want to also be recognized for the excellent service and that trust the same way in the digital world. And just have that people first approach. That's why we've been so careful. If you see, it's not like we have 500 influencers. We're very selective, and we co-create those contents. Just making sure that we add value to their lives as a card member, as we would do with any other card member, but that just generating how they feel. It's something that really brings to life the brand of American Express.
And I just thinking, like you mentioned about UGC, because the hashtag Amex and the hashtag with Amex across Instagram and TikTok, it's insane, right?
Myself as well on TikTok is just incredible. The amount of positive content and interesting experiences from just random people just sharing, spontaneously. It's incredible. How do you manage such a amount of UGC in these platforms? How do you see that?
Oh, we have an army behind it, right? Because as you can say, and also I think it goes back to your point on back in the days when we used to work at Amex. This seems such a brand, so exclusive and so far away, to the fact that now we are talking about how people are using their TikToks. I mean, it's something. It's how the brand evolved to be so relevant today. And again, I think it has to do less with the tool itself, and more about the consumer behavior and the empathy and connecting with it. This year alone, we saw an increase in the spending of our youngest card members in categories such as travel, entertainment, online shopping. Obviously, the younger generations are spending 20% more than before the pandemic. And the young market, millennials, Gen Z, early millennials, Gen Z, it's a segment that is growing exponentially for us, and already is 60% of our new customers. So I think 60% of the new customers. So you can only see, I think we're going to see TikTok now, but we're going to see, whatever next generation of interaction will be coming up very soon.
Is the gamers, and then we can discuss on private, but soon we're gonna have to type into direct to avatar, because the gamers, they're spending a lot. We see that metaverse universe that is just here. And then I think for American Express soon, like if you're not there yet, you're gonna have to understand how to engage with your card members that are already playing games and, you know, creating their avatar, you know, way of living, because they're consuming and they're looking for experience in that universe as well. So it's from
Totally.
to Avatar. So it's just it's here.
I know. How do we keep up with that? I mean, it's
but I like that Amex is trying to keep up and always, you know, in the forefront, you know, looking at their consumers, you know, especially the younger ones. Having worked for bigger banks here in the UK, you know, and even if you look at more traditional industries, you know, they struggle to really connect to the new audience and to what's coming. And I can see Amex is there. So it is really great to see, especially on TikTok, you know, when I was looking at the content, you know, so brilliant to see the following and people there. So that's amazing.
It's crazy how people can get creative and connected with your brand in ways that you never thought.
Yes.
That's why the creation element that you mentioned is so key. With, you know, if you wanted to engage with those audience, the millennials and the Gen Z, especially now you're saying, you know, the new card members are 60% from this generation. It's just like, how can you co-create with them, you know, your products, your offers? And it's the same when it comes to influencer marketing, right? As much authentic you can be, and as much as you can let them to co-create the content on your behalf, let them to be, you know, very genuine and authentic to their personality without diverting too much of the brand values. This is the secret of a success of a, you know, of an influencer campaign. Is this like really like, let's co-create together on this, and then how best you can create this content, because they know their audience, right? Like it's like, it's the same as, you know, your card members, because you have your data, your technology to back up on, you know, what you know about your card members. Is the same when it comes to the influencers. So they know their audience, they know what their audience are looking to consume when they come to see their social channels. So they know how to get the engagement. So we need to let them to, you know, to have that freedom on creating the content.
You couldn't said it better. Absolutely. I see them, you know, like how the model has changed. If you think before, you know, we used to brief our media agencies on how to get the reach and how, you know, what kind of content we still do, right? How do we optimize in digital channels, programmatic, and so forth. But in the case of influencers, they are the most reliable source of information, and they are the ones who should be telling us, you know, what that their audience is consuming, what they connect with, and create that content with them that can feel organic and not dictating and giving them a brief of, this is how you should portray the blue box, or, you know,
can you imagine?
It's not creative. We wouldn't have that amount of UGC in TikTok doing that for sure.
No, very, very close to our heart, Andrea. And also what you said, that the quality of the audience and the engagement, you know, is a lot more important than reach, right? So value is a lot more important than volume. So yeah, we definitely agree with that as well. And we see that with other clients.
Yeah. We could stay here. I always say that podcast, what I love about podcasts.
You can stay for hours.
You can stay for hours, because especially I love talking. I love listening stories. But I have my other Andreia here with a paper saying 50 minutes, an hour. She's just giving me the pause paper. But I'm calling you Deia audience, because this is how we call Andreia in Brazil when you're very close with Deia. So just for the audience, not thinking that, oh, Maira is just starting the podcast introducing her as Andreia, now she's changing for that. Like, amazing to have you here. And then, you know, to see how, like, you are like a phenomenon when it comes to marketing. You are very, like, you know, critical thinking and innovative yourself. Such an inspirational. We haven't speaking for a while, but as I said, I've been following you through social channels, and I can see everything you have, you know, accomplished with Amex and all these amazing campaigns that you're doing. You're a source of inspiration. You're a powerful woman, as you mentioned before, and I love to see you know, like women that I've known for so long, being so successful. And just listen to you and having this conversation, I made a lot of notes on ideas and thinking, because you actually inspired me a lot with your thoughts and everything you have mentioned today here to us. So could not be more grateful to have had you, and really looking forward to meet you in person soon. Hopefully Mexico or in Miami, because I know you go very often to Miami.
And just to echo as well, Andreia, a big pleasure for me too. As I said earlier, you were an inspiration to me before 20 years ago, and after today, you know, definitely still continue to be the case. So very inspiring thoughts and experience you share with us. Yeah, really appreciate. Thank you very much, and great to see you, and hope to see you soon too.
Oh, it goes backwards to you guys too. Such a beautiful story, and you guys are storytellers, and I love reading anything you guys release. So keep going, and let's connect more often. I love the chat.
Yes, me too. They definitely will connect. And if I go to Mexico, as I said earlier, I will let you know. And then for those that wanted to follow Andreia's, you know, she's on LinkedIn. We're gonna add it, all her tags here. Please follow her work at American Express, you know, like a pioneer when it comes to, you know, to marketing, you know, creativity and marketing innovation. That's why today she's the vice president of American Express Mexico, because there is a reason behind such a talented lady. So thank you so much for everyone that has been with us today. Hope you enjoyed our episodes. And if you're not following us yet, please follow us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and YouTube. So thank you so much for listening to us today, and I see you on our next episodes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.